Hi, Kate here. Welcome to Wellcast. If you've been here before, welcome back. If it's your first time, check out our introductory video. Long story short, it's 100 wellness exercises in 100 days. You in? Stress isn't a decision, but how you deal with it certainly is. Today, we're going to show you how you can be a master of a stressful situation at work with one effective exercise. According to a poll conducted by CareerBuilder, 50% of workers reported that they feel a great deal of stress on the job. But what causes workplace stress? Are you getting stuck with too much work piling up on your desk? Do you need to have it all done in 5 minutes? Maybe you're getting criticized constantly and never praised. You know, it also happens when your job's too easy and you're just simply not challenged or inspired. Stress comes from all sides. A stressful work environment can have a significant impact on your health. The American Heart Association found that people who reported experiencing job-related stress had blood pressure that tested 10% higher than those who did not experience job stress. The study also found that people who were stressed maintained their high blood pressure even after they got home, while those non-stress participants, well, their blood pressure dropped right when they left the office. The British Medical Journal did a 15-year study on workplace stress, and they found that people who reported being overworked and unable to meet deadlines were twice as likely to get type 2 diabetes than those who felt they were able to meet the deadlines. So, whether you're an AP, HR, or upper management, today's Wellcast is for you. There's no way to avoid stress, but you have a choice to react in a healthy way. Stress is a circumstance, but you are a force. There are really only 3 possible reactions to a bad situation: removing yourself from the situation, changing the situation, or accepting the situation. Open your Wellcast journal to a blank page and make 3 columns. Label them at the top: remove, change, and accept. Now, think of the 5 most stressful situations at your current workplace. These might include your salary, your boss, your coworkers, or your output. Start by placing these stressors into each category. Start with a larger one, like your salary. You do have the decision to A, remove yourself from your current workplace and find a better job, B, change your situation by asking for a raise, or C, accept the situation that you're in. Once you've divided these stressors, write out 5 short action plans for each situation. For example, if you've chosen to change an unpleasant situation with your coworker, map out exactly how you're going to do that. Move your desk, or if it's really bad, maybe you could talk to your supervisor. Remember, acceptance isn't necessarily avoidance. Sometimes dealing with stress is as simple as learning how to put your frustrations into perspective. Congratulations! You've just identified your top 5 stressors, and better yet, you know what you're going to do to make a difference. That is a huge accomplishment, because you've transformed negative elements in your life into opportunities to re-engage and grow. Let's recap. You can't completely avoid workplace stress, but you can deal with it in a more productive way. Excess stress can lead to higher blood pressure and even diabetes. So, to combat stress at your job, use your Wellcast journal to divide those stressors into 3 very specific categories: remove, accept, and change. Then, figure out concrete plans how to react to these stressors healthfully.
Are you really happy at work? It is no secret that a lot of companies out there are doing a lot more with a lot less.
And that can obviously take a toll on workers who feel burned out. Okay, so how do you know if you need a day off or a new job? Well, here's Paula Eben with the questions to ask yourself.
Go, go, go. Work is harder than ever.
Not enough people to do the job.
I think we're still rebounding from a tough economy.
We live in a globalized, highly competitive world. If they don't do it, somebody will eat their lunch.
Quite a statement on the American workplace. More workers are plugged in, stressed out, and about to snap. They are burnt out.
Burnout is something that doesn't change over many days. New projects don't energize you. New colleagues don't energize you. You've just had it and spend most of your time daydreaming about what else and where else you want to be.
Work is tough these days. A recent survey of IT workers found 3/4 of them reported being stressed out to the point where more than 40% of them lost sleep over work. Here are 4 questions to ask yourself to see if you're almost at the point of burnout.
Do you lack the energy to go to work most days?
It's that long continuation when that's how they feel every day about going to work.
Persistent trouble concentrating is another warning sign, as is feeling ambiguous about your role in the organization, according to human resource consultant Elaine Varelis.
If you're unclear on what your responsibilities are, then you're never really solid in your role.
Another warning sign, feeling detached and isolated from coworkers.
Not having relationships is a significant issue, and again, another sign of burnout and potentially depression.
Burnout costs companies big money in lost productivity and recruiting replacement workers, but it doesn't have to.
I have been here for 40 years.
Melanie Russell doesn't hide her longevity at Invensis in Foxborough. The strategic marketing executive can't. It's plastered on the wall as a point of pride. Invensis promotes internal stress releases like quick bowling matches on the way and community outreach on company time. Melanie volunteered weekly at a local charter school. She says it helped her, the community, and her company.
You'd come back and you'd just be a little bit more recharged.
More companies are realizing small investments can have big returns.
Dealing with stress and the stress that impacts burnout is something that's good for the bottom line.
Paula Eben, WBZ News.
One of the issues that always strikes me is how many times people have observed behaviors after the fact, after an incident's occurred, that had they done something early, they could have prevented this incident from happening.
One of the biggest myths of workplace violence is that events happen out of the blue, or that someone just snapped. I'm Randy Spivey.
And I'm Jim Sporleader, both from the Center for Personal Protection and Safety. In fact, you can do something about many situations that could eventually lead to violence. You can make a difference in keeping your workplace safe.
The culture where employees have the idea that safety and security is someone else's concern, that it's not their area of specialization, is a faulty one.
We'll provide you with an understanding of what workplace violence is, warning signs of potential violence before it occurs, and we'll give you options on how to respond.
What's going on?
Look, this is probably not a good time to talk about it.
There are many inhibitors that stop people from becoming involved and responding to behaviors of concern. One of those inhibitors is, quite honestly, they're just not aware of what some of the signs really are.
Hindsight's always 20/20. When you do the post-mortem on a workplace violence incident, that there were opportunities to intervene at a very early stage because these behaviors were there.
Sexual harassment is, frankly, is what a court says it is. There's certainly a legal standard that courts employ, which is to say that the harassment has to be, first, unwelcome. The harassment also has to be severe and or pervasive. For example, the most serious type of sexual harassment that would occur would be some sort of sexual molestation or rape. And so that may only happen once, but because it's so severe, that can constitute unlawful sexual harassment. Even if you don't have a severe sexual harassment incident, if you have numerous, for example, verbal sexually harassing statements, even without physical touching, but if there are many and it occurred over a long period of time, that can constitute sexual harassment because it's pervasive. The civil rights laws don't just prohibit sexual harassment. They also prohibit harassment based on other categories. So for example, if someone has a disability, say a learning disability, and they are made fun of by their peers or by their boss, there's a cause of action under the Americans with Disabilities Act for creating what's called a hostile work environment. So although that has nothing to do with sexual harassment, it is another form of harassment based on a protected category that's unlawful. Similarly, if somebody who is African American is harassed at work or called the N-word in that manner, that can be a hostile work environment based on race that is just as unlawful as sexual harassment. In order for there to be a viable sexual harassment claim, there also has to be damage that's been done as a result of the harassment. And the fact is, it is the rare case where a woman is sexually harassed and not emotionally traumatized by it. Unfortunately, many women that are the victims of sexual harassment make two principal mistakes. One, they fail to go talk to an attorney about what's happened. I mean, they just suffer through it and try to persevere, which oftentimes simply just results in further damage. Unfortunately, the second thing is that it's pretty common for women that are sexually harassed to not tell other people about it. And even worse, to not go to see a medical professional or therapist or psychiatrist or psychologist about it. Those wounds don't heal on their own. So, we routinely, advise clients that come in that are in that sort of scenario to seek the medical attention that they need. Part of my approach to handling sexual harassment cases is informed by the fact that I'm a big brother. I have a protective instinct, in part due to my being a big brother. And so I think that informs my approach to sexual harassment cases. I mean, it makes me mad when these sort of things happened. And if I wasn't aggressive enough already, I tend to get a little bit more stirred up about those sort of cases.